How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today got quite a few things. There's added a new patch, so there's some new vehicles and all sorts. Look at that, like a glove. Yeah, so first thing I did was zip around. I went back to Sojourn, just quite edit the vast majority of this out. Just getting some forklifts stacked up, got them nicely all racked up in the semi-trailer. Yeah, because I wanted to get some more money. Some people have said they've had plenty of money on this game. I seem to be perpetually skint. So yeah, I was taking a load of these to cash them in so I could buy some of these new vehicles. This, by the way, this is the problem with the semi-truck. It's such a pain in the ass. Like, it was handy to grab a load of forklifts, even though I had to go around with a crane to load it in. But then, yeah, when you eventually get there, it can't even get to the last little bit anyway. Right, regardless of all that, here's some of the new vehicles. There's 4. If I start from the beginning, there's the SAR truck. It's a mule. I assume SAR is search and rescue. Yeah, so it's like the utility-looking mule I was sort of calling it previously. 45 grand, not too cheap. I don't buy that one right now because I don't really see too much need for it. This was the one I was certainly interested in buying. A TUZ 119 Lynx, but it's a 6-wheeled version and it comes with a trailer. 39 grand as well is pretty fair and reasonable, I reckon, for this sort of vehicle. An 8-ton cargo bed. Overall, I do find the trailers a little bit on the heavy side, I reckon. There's this SAR truck. Yeah, the little van. I was eyeballing the camera underneath, like, right, you definitely have got prop shafts, because the AI version of this, just one wheel comes off the ground and it wheel spins. So I wanted to check that out. 23 grand. It's not crazy money, but probably a little on the pricey side for a little van. And then an SAR step pike, which I actually had high hopes for this originally. I think, again, it's a little on the slow side. The pike flatbed version thing actually has quite a lot of power and goes pretty quick. I found that SAR version, not so much. Yeah, the van. Dropping the hammer out my base. Again, I've just cut through it very quickly, but there was like a little idea of the sort of speed it goes. I purposely came over to here just make sure I could prop one wheel up off the ground and it doesn't bleed all its power like the AI vehicles do. Either it's just different, maybe the AI vehicles will still do it, or they've kind of just fixed it in general so it actually has power going to all the wheels and not just bleeding it all to one. Also, all of those are search and rescue versions, so they've got winches and all the rest of it, which is handy, and yeah, sort of needed a little bit more variety as far as that goes in the game, because obviously if you tip a vehicle you've got to go and send something else, but you're limited because most vehicles don't have winches. And yeah, you might have a Land Rover nearby, but that might not be enough to flip like if this flipped or something. So yeah, this is the 6-wheel Lynx thing with a trailer. So the back folds down. Loaf, he's squeezing on there. Looks like he can't fit, but like Jeff Goldblum said, Loaf finds a way. He's made it. The ramp thing is just going to kind of shove him up in the air a little bit. I didn't actually try it. Apparently, part of the patch update, you can strap vehicles down to trailers. Obviously, I did try with this, but it makes sense it said no, but I hadn't read all the patch notes by then. As well, just throwing it out there, you see how like my frame rate went all funny there? I've had that happen a few times tonight. I was just, if anyone else could let me know if they have, because just by sheer chance, yesterday, I updated my drivers on my graphics card, and then obviously I got the patch today, so I'm more convinced it's the game, because it's not just like the graphics is struggling. Even if you press start and you're moving the mouse around the screen and all that, it's still glitching and going really slow, which doesn't strike me as like it's the graphics card struggling or anything. But yeah, just so happened I updated both of them, I suppose, so I wasn't at 100% which thing was causing it. You can see again a bit of frame rate going now, and then it sort of frees up again. That's why I get a bit of a tank slapper going on down there. Because like the amount of steering input I was inputting was changing, like 1 second of steering input was barely doing anything, and then suddenly it was. Yeah, overall I do think this is a pretty cool vehicle. It'll be another option, say if you want to deliver like a steamroller or a paver somewhere or whatever, and you want to drive it there rather than say recalling it with a Loaf or something. Yeah, overall pretty cool vehicle. I will say one thing with the trailer that'll be coming up in a sec. It's a bit like SnowRunner with the ramped flatbed, the red trailer. As soon as you reverse it, the dolly axle thing is going to tuck under the trailer It's maybe on a completely flat, smooth surface, you might be able to reverse it normally, but in a game like this, I mean, it just got snagged on the bushes and all sorts. Yeah, the good news is it did kind of lock sideways, and I could still roughly push it back without it jackknifing and going all funny, so it's one of them. It's sort of one of the old problems of a dolly trailer like that, where the axle spins round underneath it, but overall it did seem to at least be able to just keep reversing and ram it backwards rather than, yeah, digging in and like jackknifing and flipping itself over or something. So, onto a mission quickly. Figure out the reason for the blackout, and for this one you need to deliver 2 objects and they both want to go there, and then after you've done that you can actually slip down there because the cliff sort of ends. It's a bit confusing to get down there, so you may as well do this bit of the mission first. Grab both the objects. Yeah, don't go there like because it says you need to search an area. There's no point in going there first, otherwise you're pretty much going to have to do twice the journey. So yeah, for this one I'm sending in the mule because I only need to grab two objects and take them over there. I like my little ramped road going down there. You can sort of test out the top speed of vehicles quite easily as well, like that trailer and Lynx combo I was using. Kelly, like, for some reason this message triggers every time I drive near the machine yard. Every time I've like turned the game off and load it back up. Not that I mind. There was another one in Sojourn. It was something to do with a concrete plant. I think she kept like popping up with the same message sort of endlessly really every time you go on it. Yeah, grab these. They're both different size boxes. I'll fit them in like that. And to be honest, actually, looking back, apologies, I didn't really, it probably, well, it would have been more faffing around because I'd still have to crane it onto it, but I suppose I could have, yeah, loaded some stuff on that Lynx trailer thing. I didn't actually really use them much tonight. I've been kind of busy doing all sorts. I had those, yeah, the glitches were kind of going on. I've also found a bug that was sort of like duplicating your vehicles again. I'll explain it. It seems to be since they've patched it, so it will probably get sorted pretty soon. In a nutshell, it was basically, it's telling me I can deploy every vehicle again, even though the ones I've already got deployed on the map, it's now going to clone them. But yeah, I'll get into that a little later. So yeah, drive to this point, chuck both those boxes in that square. And then yeah, there's like a big cliff edge running along all the way. So when you're looking, especially like, it's easy now for me in hindsight because the map's uncovered. When you're looking and it's all sort of clouded over, it's hard trying to figure out which way you're going to get down here because it looks like you're just dropping off sheer cliffs everywhere. But yeah, right at the edge there in the clouds, the cliff changes into a very steep hill that you can just roll down, cut along here. Some kind of smashed up pylon. And yeah, that's another mission done. A bit more money in the bag as well, which I could do with.
On the upside, this area is rich in resources we can use. If you can gather up some wood and steel at the machine yard, we can put them to good use. We can send some resources upstream too. There's a dam in the next region that can use our donation. All you need to do is plot a course from the machine yard to the eastern tunnel.
And then yeah, that unlocks a mission which I'll get to soon. It's up in the top right about bringing resources, and then you've got to do an AI route. But speaking of AI routes, I started this one yesterday, realised it was semi-trucks, and decided I'll do it tonight because I'll probably have to do a bit more tweaking and building the map. Yeah, so I've decided I want to cut through the sand quarry, and as you can see there, I just set the vehicles off again and they got stuck just as I got there with a loaf. So I used the loaf to recall a dump truck, a dozer, and I also brought the scalper. Where I am now is a sand quarry, so you don't strictly need to, but I'll show you why sort of in a minute. That I thought it worked out a little bit handier, just saved sort of a bit of back and forth trying to find to be in the zone of a sand quarry. So yeah, I cut a lot of this out, but general idea, sort of start laying roads, cutting through here. I also used, yesterday, it was one thing I got done, was I smashed through some trees with a loaf. Yeah, up ahead a little bit. See, it's funny, like, obviously this is pretty rough here. Do one run with the dozer, and that's a pretty nice glass smooth looking road by comparison. It probably still will look lumpy in the sunlight and all the rest of it, but yeah, one run of it's pretty nice, but it's when you start trying to smooth out wider roads and patches that it gets a bit mad. Yeah, the reason I brought the scalper was it's got a bigger radius than this sand quarry, so even though I'm in the sand quarry, I just extended the radius so I can reach the sand without having to drive back as much. Yeah, that's where I rammed through with a loaf. I was listening to Cher, if I could turn back time, flat out in my headset, ramming trees over with a loaf. What a fun time to be alive. Yeah, so this is like me first little path that these... Again, yeah, it's semi-trucks, and it's... there's 60 concrete slabs in total that you can cash out of this mission, which makes it pretty damn worth it, because if you want to build bridges here, there and everywhere, obviously already having 60 slabs stacked up is pretty handy. And that, I don't know what that cost. How much are the slabs? I think they're at least $1,500, so you're talking like 90 grand's worth of slabs, or a ridiculous amount of scavenging concrete scrap and cashing it in. So they got over the first bit, but then yeah, you go wiggling down the road a little bit, and they start getting stuck there. Not too far off where they need to get to. So yeah, overall though, it didn't turn out to be as difficult. Not as difficult. I knew I was just going to slap sand and do roads everywhere, but I didn't have to patch as many bits as I thought in the end, considering it's the semi-trucks. Either the semi-trucks just got off a little bit lightly on this one, or there's a possibility with a patch 2.0 they've tweaked the AI semi-trucks to not be completely useless, because the last time I played them, there's a nice little drift going on there. I wish more vehicles would have that level of oomph. Yeah, on Sojourn, even when I built sand roads for the semi-trucks, they just wheel span and like got stuck instantly. I mean, in fairness, this one is not exactly setting any lap records driving up there, but it is on a slope. They were wheel spinning for me and getting stuck even on pretty much perfectly flat, smooth sand surface. So maybe they've been tweaked a bit, or like I say, maybe I just got a little bit lucky this time. Speaking of lorries, there's a loud one outside my house. Yeah, and then after that section, again, you can see like the blue one got a little boost from the white one, so that sort of lags behind a bit, but it did manage to crawl up there under its own steam. And then yeah, another one, objectives to complete. Plan a route for the convoy from the, I think it was the western tunnel maybe, to the rail station. And yeah, after that it does keep chucking out semi-trucks, and there's about another 15 I assume, because you get 4 slabs per delivery and there's 60 in total. So it is worth probably putting in a good effort with that road, just to make sure they all get there. I also did build this road that looped around. It's kind of the main road you probably is the intention to follow. I cut through the sand quarry and built my own little road through there. But yeah, either way, like there's a few little patches need to be done, but not as ruthless as I figured I'd have to pave the entire way. So from here, there's my road through the sand quarry. There's the alternative, which it probably wants you to do, is fixing that bit. And then I did put a bit of sand down here. They could actually cut round the edge, but I just did it. I didn't need that. I just spilt the sand, so I flattened it while I was going past. And then, yeah, that little slope going up there. I didn't need to do the other bit or that peeling off to the right. I was just up to other bits and bobs. There's a sand quarry down there, so I was sort of just messing around. And, yeah, like I say, that's that mission done. Another thing, while I was driving around tonight, I was just uncovering more of the map. And I just found a little bit where this to me was the what I was expecting or hoping with the deluge experience, was having to drive through places where you're like an inch or two off drowning your vehicle. And yeah, you can just pretty much see the roof rack poking out of the ground. There's a few things. Oh yeah, this one quickly. I just drowned my engine and I got the reward, an achievement or whatever. You've got to drown your engine 10 times. I'll just throw it out. I've definitely drowned my engine more than 10 times, but I think it means on one vehicle. So you could have drowned this 6 times, the Hummer 3 times, the Loaf twice. That's 11 in total, but it won't give you that achievement. I think you have to drown one vehicle at least 10 times. And then also, yeah, it was just another one. I was still exploring the map, really, just getting a few of the last bits of cloud uncovered. I've not 100% done it, but as near as makes no difference, really. And again, sort of this was what I was expecting with a deluge a bit more. Maybe there is still time to do it, but sort of having to cross rivers where you're, yeah, pretty damn close to drowning it. This is that is it the L34? Whatever it's called, but the logger version. Again, I quite like it. If not, if there is no missions to do this kind of stuff, then yeah, I'll just roam around on my own. I'll find routes. I'm still planning on building a racetrack. I've eyeballed a few options up. Another thing, I found another toy truck, so I just thought I'd leave that in and say I'd drown immediately, because I was looking at the toy truck. That's kind of over here, sort of up towards the top right of the map. There's like a little stone thing going on, and the toy truck is like propped up on the middle stone. And then at this point, I figured out there is a glitch going on, because I accidentally deployed 2 Hummers. I assumed I must have recovered it, but I deployed 2, and when I figured that out, I knew I didn't own 2, or I haven't bought 2. So I went to investigate, and like I just shown you there, I've got an Aramatsu kite mulcher thing that's already on the map. But it says deploy. As I'm scrolling down now, all of these vehicles say press F to deploy, because down on my D-pad's not working, so I'm just using down on the keyboard. But half of these vehicles are deployed. So any that are deployed, it's basically going to give me a free clone. And I don't know if I triggered something that kind of stopped the glitch, because after a while I spawned a few things, and then they started coming up saying retain again. So the van, for example, I just showed you I've got the van outside. I went into my garage, I sold the van, and now it's disappeared off the list. So it's still doing the same similar thing where the game still assumes you've only got 1 vehicle. So I went back to the shop, bought it back to blow a few grand to test that one out. That's the problem with losing like 10% per vehicle or whatever. And now obviously I can deploy it again, but I've already got one, so you can see I've now got 2 vans. I didn't have to sell it and rebuy it. Oh yeah, I forgot to cut this a little bit out, taking me a little junior truck for a walk. Yeah, and then now as I scroll down, like I get an Aramatsu crayfish that says deploy, but I've already got one kind of deployed near the machine yard I've been messing around with. I'll be back there again soon. Yeah, there's that just parked up. I was thinking, like, where is it there? So I've cloned that as well, and I cloned a few more vehicles, really. Again, I was partly testing out kind of what it's doing and all that, so I can let you guys know what's going on. But yeah, you can see the van there said retain. Most of them, I spawned a new scalper, one of those 6-wheeled Lynx things with a trailer, a new mulcher, a new forester. I got a few of the main ones, really, and then yeah, as you can see, as I scroll down, more and more are now changing to retain once I've got them. So the bug seemed to last, like, I managed to clone a Hummer and it still said deploy a 3rd one, but then for whatever reason when I was going through testing it, it was saying no after, like, once I got 1 extra it'd then say retain. It also for me said retain a rusty mule. I haven't got one of them deployed on the map, but it said I have. And lastly, it's dropped the levels of them to 13 and 15, but they're still locked for me even though I'm at level 16. So there is a few little bugs and hiccups going on. They probably will do like a little micro patch maybe to tweak some of the major sort of 2.0 patches. But yeah, they've reduced the weather, and I can't remember. It's worth just clicking on Steam and reading through, really. Another mission to do, clear damage from the train accident. So I've got a crane down at the sand quarry from the last mission, and yeah, kind of drive it up there and just move some stuff out of the way. It's a pretty easy, simple mission, to be fair. Just a good excuse to take the crane out, really. Good turning circle on this crane, considering it's the biggest crane. It's got the longest boom arm thing going on as well. And yeah, built a little road back there so I can sort of get out there. Filled all this section in. Makes it a lot easier getting out of this sand quarry. It's still quite nice to drive this crane, to be honest. The only thing I don't like about it, and it's happening with just loads of vehicles in this game, is how easy it catches its chin. It'll probably, some bits I can think, yeah, fair enough. Like maybe I went in a bit hot there and sort of almost got air and dropped down on my chin. But yeah, you end up like, throughout the game, especially that it is an off-roading game, you do bang your chin quite a lot, and then you bleed all your, or not bleed, you just flat out lose all your speed. And then by the time you're crawling back through the gears, and then you'll catch your chin on something again, and it's like, yeah, they need to sort of smooth that out. They did it on SnowRunner, they sorted the club out. There's a few other vehicles, I think John used to get caught a lot. The Dolphin, the Azov 5319, that used to catch its chin. I think it still does, but I still think they smoothed it off a little bit. And then going through here is another good example. So I get beached now, and I was even thinking like, oh no, have I hit a tree stump? I was pretty damn certain I hadn't, but since I was stuck solid, I thought, well, maybe I had. And funnily enough, it's like, yeah, I can actually inspect if I have or not, because I've got crane legs I can deploy. Yeah, not a tree stump to be found. Either the front or the rear of this crane is just catching into the mud and stopping me like, you know, like an invincible hitbox. I just pinged my crane legs in and out a few times to sort of jiggle me around and managed to dislodge myself. But yeah, they could... I wish they would go around and kind of tweak that as a bit of a matter of urgency, because it's just... it's a bit deflating and defeating when you get caught on like an invincible hitbox, because then you can't really do anything. You're now just fighting against like the game's coding, which isn't really going to happen. Especially in a situation like that, I shouldn't be getting stuck like that. If anything, the corner of my vehicle should sort of gouge the mud out and yeah, take a little chunk of mud with it and kind of plough its way through. But anyway, we made it here. I cut most of this out because it's basically just back and forth, flicking things out of this like whatever area that I've got to clear. There was some rocks to get out of the way. I think it's pretty cool in this game that you can pick up the bigger rocks.
Oof, color me impressed. When you clean a place, you're thorough. If I ever start a cleaning company, I know who I'm hiring.
Yeah, but that's a euphemism. I know what she really means. Yeah, one thing I also find funny with this crane, I've noticed it a few times. See how I turn this way and it doesn't tip? And you're thinking like, oh, well, surprise. But I already knew it'll flop back the other way and then tip. I figured it out when I was rescuing my flying concrete slabs on Incommunicado. Yeah, the game thought it had me. Managed to hit pack crane quick enough and it didn't quite tip me over. What have I got next? Now, sorry, it's back to this mission. When I just completed with the mule, and she said you got to gather some resources and all that, and then do an AI route. It's this one here at the machine yard again. So it wants 3 steel beams and 7 logs. The steel beams facility is just north of it, so that's pretty easy. And even in the yard here, there's like, nearly looks invisible there, but there's a scrap truck, a digger bucket. There's like the tracks of like dumped, sort of tracked vehicles. Looks like a old one of them. Yeah, you can cash in more than enough to do that. And then I've got the Aramatsu crayfish logger thing nearby. I'm just going to log 7 logs at once from around here, so I don't really have to go far with that. Oh yeah, this was the first time the straps have ever done anything apart from just strap everything down. I loaded the lorry thing, van, whatever, in sideways and it wouldn't let me. Then I put it on the back, but it was too long. That's what she said. And then I moved it up a little bit nearer to the crane, not by much, and then thankfully the straps did work. So hopefully it's probably just because this is like a bit of a long pickup versus like even the chassis of a scrap car or whatever. Yeah, took a few things there, got 5 steel beams, but only needed 3. Throw them in there. And it doesn't say anything, you just see in the top right it's ticked now, 3 out of 3. And then the next thing, like say, yeah, I had the this Aramatsu crayfish thing already here. Just gonna pluck 7 logs. I figured I'll speed it up a bit. I like the footage of this, but obviously it does take a while as well. Yeah, I was just trying to get them all in a neat pile because I'm going to pick them up with a mule and instead of having to keep going in and out the crane menu, just get them all together. For some reason, one tree, it must have got snagged on a tree stump. It wouldn't let me drag it back over here, so I ended up leave that one there. I still got me a pile of 7 logs. Yeah, get them all stacked in the mule. It was actually pretty nice, neat stacking for me. Normally they're pointing all over the place, but I thought early, get the first logs neat, because it has like a knock-on effect. It makes it a lot easier to stack them a bit neater if the first ones aren't kind of like chopsticks crossed over each other and all sorts. And then yeah, it wants them in this yard, and I thought now, I don't need right, I'll have a good old run-up, reverse. Don't know why I bothered with the run-up, because it was about now, I was like, oh yeah, this vehicle's slow as shit. There was no need for a run-up. But my plan was, fly backwards, unstrap, crash into that and skid them into the zone. I probably went a bit over dramatic with that, probably didn't need to. But yeah, that's that cashed in. And then that unlocks a mission where you now want to do an AI route. And I was looking around like, where is it? And then I figured out it was to the eastern tunnel near your base. I was like, oh, well, I'm laughing. I had no idea we'd ever need to do an AI mission down here. I just built the roads because I had time the other day. And yeah, I was enjoying building the road, building the bridges, kind of connecting up more of the map in general. And it paid off pretty nicely, because then this AI route, to be fair, they are Vorons, so they'd have a reasonable chance of getting there anyway. But yeah, with the roads and bridges and everything I've built, like I think even the semi-trucks, they'd have no problem taking that route. So yeah, thought I'd leave a little bit of the footage in. Again, I quite like the nice cleanness of the screen when you're in these sort of AI things watching them. And yeah, the graphics are looking pretty nice as well, I will say. It's a good looking game. SnowRunner and that was well. They do pretty well at nailing, like, sort of just, yeah, scenery going on. It does look pretty good. And apparently in this patch, as I said, they've toned the weather down. It's funny because it sort of said they've turned down the amount of it rains, and then it just said, who likes rain anyway? And it's like, I not feel bad for them, but they obviously put a lot of effort into the rain and all the rest of it, and then everyone's like, oh my god, what is this shit? And they've had to get rid of it, or tone it down. To be fair, they overcooked it. If they didn't add rain, it was like 80% of the game was rain. And it's a very good looking game, and it doesn't look anywhere near as good when it's in the middle of pissing down, so I think, yeah, it's the right decision to tone it down a bit. I've definitely had more sun. I have had some rain still going on. I wouldn't want the rain completely gone, but yeah, more sun is nice because it's just a better looking game when it's sunny. I cut most of that out because it's missions I didn't get into tonight, but once they got there, it completed it, and it ends up, you complete like sections of a map, and that was one of them where it said staying afloat. I don't even know if it did say staying afloat, actually. I think I just pulled that out of nowhere. Yeah, I went for a little drive around with the loaf. I was looking, like, that's pretty good graphics on that tree bark, considering the amount of trees and stuff there is around the map. Yeah, I was exploring the map, trying to uncover more clouds with a loaf, and that's a good thing. Go interior view when you got a thick forest and just drop the hammer. Loaf will smash trees down and all sorts. Yeah, there's a quick look at the map once most of the clouds are gone, or pretty much all of them. And then later in the night, I had enough money, I thought I'd buy this. The reason why is because the other step pike, the flatbed version thing, drives pretty fast, but this thing, I'll come to Tokyo Drift Lane, it couldn't even do a drift, which was highly disappointing. Just to check it wasn't the patch that had tweaked things, sent in the goddamn horse. See, it is raining again. See, he does a nice fat drift. He knows what he's doing, he's loaf trained. I took all of the vehicles, well, I haven't bought the Mule SAR, but yeah, they all drift. Well, they don't drift. A bit disappointed in that. I'm 36% now, and then they've added like a new noise when you scroll through. This, at the bottom right, vehicles unlocked, it says like out of 69. I'm sure that used to say out of 78, so that seems corrected. Bases, I think, said 63. That now says 51. Side objectives seem to be all counted now, whereas it was not counting most of them. Still says I've earned 53 million, though. That's definitely not true. I wish it was. Yeah, and then, like I say, some of the vehicles are lower unlock level, but they're still locked. Anyway, that's about it for today, though. Thanks for watching. Get yourself a loaf, and I'll be back soon.